Hey there, EB here. Happy Friday. I know I'm a little early. Usually I only do the weekly update once a week, but I felt I needed to speak on this shooting in Minneapolis of Renee Good before I do my regular weekly update and include everything next week. It's troubling to me and to many people I know. I'm sure it's troubling to many of you as well. I'm sorry I started before and I didn't have my microphone on green. It was on red. Before I start, though, I want to thank Bobby Kennedy for the increase in the flu that's going around the country, multiple strains. I am told that there's and read that there's a lack of vaccines availability. Bobby Kennedy has been highly skeptical of vaccines his entire life. I've talked at length about how dangerous Donald Trump is, but I believe that Bobby Kennedy is one of the most dangerous people in our world. And I think we're going to feel this for years to come. Um, he is a vaccine skeptic. He tells parents to do things that are not medically right. He has a cadre and minion of people who are also anti vax and anti science. In addition to the flu flying rampant, we're also having the measles, something that was totally under control before Donald Trump ever became president in 2016. So thank you, Bobby Kennedy. And if I ever see you, I'd probably tell you what I thought of you. Certainly, your family's already done that. Regarding the Renee Good shooting, I am shaken. I say that because I have had a very similar case to Renee's situation. I represented at Bland Richter with my partner, Ronnie Richter, the family of Zachary Hammond, who was a 19-year-old kid. He was a troubled kid, certainly had a spotty background, but we don't like to close the book and write somebody's life based on being 19 years old and getting in some problems. Certainly not the type of problems that were felonies or anything like that. They were misdemeanors and just a very uh, problematic child in a way. He was going to sell one joint to someone, and he called that person on the phone and misdialed a number. Happened to be the number that he called a police officer with the Seneca Police Department, and so they set up a sting operation to meet at the Hardee's in Seneca, South Carolina, and Zachary was there with his girlfriend, and someone pulled up, and right when he was about to sell the guy the joint, one joint again, um, John Tiller, a police officer from the Seneca Police Department, who had washed down from a lot of big police departments through Clemson University down to a small town police department. And that's what you'll find with a lot of federal, some of these officers in small towns. They wash down to a lower police department because of bad behavior, being terminated, or being overly aggressive. He comes flying in about 65 miles an hour, did everything wrong from the start in how he approached the vehicle. He got out, he pulled his gun out and ran up to the vehicle and said, get the F out of the car. Of course, Zachary was scared, the same way that Renee was scared when those two officers, the way they aggressively came at her car, the way they, one said, get the fuck out of the car, and the other one got in front of her. Police officers are taught to stay at the side of a vehicle. First, they come up, they put a thumbprint on the back of the vehicle so that their thumbprint is there. And then they get to the side of the vehicle. Why? Side behind the driver's side window so they can't be shot at or they can't be run over by a car. Zachary was scared, immediately put his car in drive and pulled to the right. The wheels were going to the right, away from Officer Tiller. Officer Tiller shot Zachary in the back 3 times, in the shoulder, under the Latin, in his back, as the car was going away. He claimed that the car was coming directly at him, the same way that these officers said the same thing. And he claimed he shot him in the chest. Well, when we saw the autopsy, they were not shot in the, he was not shot in the chest. You cannot create an exigent or emergency circumstance and then shoot your way out of it by saying that you were in fear of bodily harm or death. It would be like me starting a fire and burning down my office. And when the police came and the fire came, fire company came. I put the fire out and said, you should call me a hero. The point is, you can't place yourself in danger to get that standard of, well, I could shoot my way out of it for fear of death or bodily harm. You have to be in fear of death or bodily harm based on the actions of the victim, based on Renee or Zachary Hammond. John Tiller got out. He shot my client. He said that he would, he said that he finally got one. And in this case, he had talked in different settings where he really wanted and thought he would end up shooting somebody in his career. And he certainly did. He killed Zachary Hammond. Well, let's talk about this case of Renee Gooden, who was shot. First, shame on Kristi Noem. This woman continues to debase herself. She got out in front of this before there was any investigation, before any of this was released. She got out and said that Renee Good was committing domestic terrorism. Are you kidding me? Yes, she was creating a traffic problem. She should have been given a traffic citation. If she resisted arrest, she should have been resisted. She should have been arrested for resisting arrest or resisting an investigation or obstruction of justice, whatever, disturbance of the peace, breach of peace. But she shouldn't have been shot and killed. Why do I say that? Well, Kristi Noem said that she was dangerous. Dangerous? The woman is a mother of 3 with stuffed animals in her car, no weapons. She said that the ICE officers who come in dressed like brown shirts with their faces masked had their vehicles stuck in snow. That is not true. Just fundamentally false. Tom Homan, who is the head of Homeland Security, who has been very, very vocal and very strident in saying that ICE has free license to, manhandle people. He was so reserved when he said, let's wait until the investigation is complete by all departments, and then we'll decide who was at fault, and then we'll decide how responsible they should be and what should happen. Kristi Noem immediately condemned the victim. Donald Trump immediately condemned the victim. J.D. Vance, who I don't even recognize, I love this book, Hillbilly Elegy. He came out yesterday with the craziest press conference talking about that she was part of the radical left or anything. There's no evidence that she was part of Antifa or anything like that, other than somebody who, like me, is concerned with how aggressive ICE is acting in our country. Look, I know so many illegals. I represent a lot of different businesses that employ illegals, but I've known these people for 15, 20 years. They serve my food. They work on my house. They work on buildings that I own and paint or whatever. They're nice people. They're law-abiding people. They pay taxes. They raise families. They're just salt of the earth people. ICE is starting to act like Gestapo. When police come up to a car, they're taught to come up in a non-threatening way to try and diffuse a situation. When these 2 officers came up to Renee Good, they came up in an aggressive situation. It immediately escalated. They could have come up and said, ma'am, can you get out of the car? Not get the fuck out of the car. Don't grab her doorknob to open it and grab inside to try to open the door handle from the inside. Door handle, not doorknob. And then the other officer getting in front of the car, they're taught to stay to the side. They're taught to be behind the window. They didn't give her an opportunity to comply. They came at her with faces covered. Police officers don't have their faces covered because it's a non-threatening way. You don't know who these officers are. They're not properly trained. They're not properly trained to interact with people, to diffuse a situation. And so, yes, I absolutely condemn Miss Good for parking her car like that on the street. That was not right. She could protest and had a right to do First Amendment protest. She could have been on the sidewalk holding up signs, but blocking driveways and blocking roads from ICE is not the way to do it. But that doesn't give these officers the right to shoot and kill her. That is just blatantly wrong. The law will provide most likely these police officers with immunity so that they cannot be sued civilly, or if there was a contemplation of criminal charges. I believe that it's a situation where the law enforcement officers at that time believed that there was fear of imminent bodily harm or death. However, for one shot, I believe that it would not cover them for the second, third, or fourth shots, because once the car passed, then the exigent circumstance or the fear that you're going to be hit is over. Remember, she wasn't trying to drive that car and go rob a bank, or drive that car with a bomb in it that they knew had a bomb, or drive the car to hurt somebody. You cannot shoot in a moving vehicle. That's one thing that came out of my Zachary Hammond case. And the law is clear on that in our state and in many other states. You cannot shoot in a moving vehicle, because if you hit that person, the vehicle becomes a missile. It becomes a deadly weapon. Exactly what you saw. Renee slumped over the wheel, must have hit the gas pedal, and the vehicle accelerated at an incredible speed and hit the back of that car. What if there was a young kid or another woman in front of that car when she was accelerating, as she was already dead because she was shot in the head? That's why you can never shoot in a moving vehicle. You can never do it unless someone's life is in danger or a bomb is going to go up. Otherwise, you set up roadblocks. You set up roadblocks, or you put out a bolo, be on the lookout for a Honda Pilot like she was driving. But this situation could be avoided, should have been avoided, and an innocent person has died. This police officer, Kristi Noem, is putting out stuff that he had PTSD. He went to the hospital and got care. None of that has been proven. The PTSD, she said, was he was dragged previously by somebody driving a car. We don't know if that's true. I don't see, again, a civil suit, a criminal prosecution. I do see a civil suit being brought. The question is whether they're going to fight it, or the city of Minneapolis is going to, both the city of Minneapolis and the federal government are going to settle. I doubt the federal government will. It'll be a 1983 case. Right. Linda Limerick says, what if the ICE officer's bullets missed and hit a bystander? Absolutely. The gun was shot 4 times. Again, you can justify possibly one shot. But once the car passes that officer, and by the way, he can't run to the car, put his gun on the car and say that she hit me and I was touched, when he's the one who created the emergency. If he would have hung back, the car never would have been anywhere near him. Again, she was turning the opposite way. She wasn't turning towards the officer. And if the officer that approached the car approached in a non-threatening way, took his mask off and said, ma'am, can you please get out of the car? And then if she started abusive or she wasn't complying, again, I don't believe in curbside courtrooms. I tell all my clients, my kids, my wife, and me, if a police officer comes, put your hands out the window. Wait till they give you directions. Do not move. Do not grab under. Do not reach for your owner's card. Let him tell you to reach for your owner's card, because if you reach, it looks like you're grabbing from a weapon. If he comes up and you do have a carry permit, or you do carry, or you have a concealed weapon permit, tell that officer immediately that you have a weapon in your car. Okay, that's the way you do that. This situation is scary. Kristi Noem and Tom Homan says, well, they're covering their face because they want to keep their identities secret because they're getting doxxed and threatened or whatever. Police officers don't have their faces covered. National Guard don't have their faces covered. Army officers don't have their faces covered. it creates an escalation. And that is what has happened here. ICE sending 20,000 officers to Minneapolis is creates fear and anxiety on the citizens. Do you notice that Trump doesn't send any of these ICE officers in this amount to red states? Only Minneapolis, only Portland, only Los Angeles, only New Orleans, only New York, not to South Carolina. Huh, really, Sonoma? I speak nonsense. You don't have to listen to me. South Carolina has more illegal aliens, immigrants, working in the agricultural field, working in the factories, working in the restaurants than Minneapolis does. This situation could have been avoided. I absolutely agree. Get rid of any Trey Von whatever from Venezuela. Get rid of the drug cartel dealers and members. Get rid of criminals, rapists, anybody that's here illegally and they are criminals. Get rid of them. Do whatever you got to do to get them out of the country. Okay. But don't start just going in schools or going in businesses to take out people that are not here illegally, no question, but at the same time, are law abiding, are paying taxes, are good employees, their kids are in school. We have such fear and anxiety going on in our country from what is happening. And I just wanted to say this Renee Good thing is going to repeat itself throughout this country. Every time ICE has more than one or two or three or four officers coming in fast and stopping cars. Again, I tell everyone, protest against ICE. Do it nonviolent. Do it in the sidewalk. Do it with signs. Do not block the streets. I do fault Miss Good for that. She shouldn't have done that. There's no question about it. Linda Limerick's right. South Florida is filled with tons of illegal immigrants. I golfed at Trump's Doral. There was tons. They were cutting the grass. They were serving the food. He employs them in his hotels. It's comical to me that he speaks in such caustic fashion about illegal immigrants, yet he's used them his entire life for all of his construction projects, for all of his hotels, for all of his golf courses, and probably to clean his houses. It's just sad. I had to speak to this. Our hearts go out for Miss Good's mother, for her wife. She has 3 children. Her wife wasn't able to even get to the car to get a leash for their dog, their Labrador Retriever. She asked to have medical treatment, EMS brought, first responders. ICE said, no, we have our own doctors. They didn't even have a stretcher. They brought this woman out and carried her by her arms and legs. I mean, it's too much, folks. This is not what America stands for. We can have a vibrant anti-immigration policy. Yes, we can close the borders, and I applaud Trump for doing that. We have less people coming in. Biden let way too many people in that we didn't know about. But this isn't the way we should cure our immigration problems. And that's all I wanted to say. Greg Lander said Democrats, both state and federal, with the willing help of fake news, are using stupid and crazy leftists as proxy soldiers against ICE and Americans. Really? Oh my goodness. It's too much between Greg and Sonoma. You don't need to listen to me. Obviously, you don't believe in the things I believe in, or you think that I'm wrong. That's fine. You don't have to listen to me. But there are many people that do believe in what I'm saying and believe in the same thing. So everybody, be safe. Have a great weekend. I will talk to you next week. Over and out.